let's get into the predicted lineup. Before we just get into predicted lineup, let's talk about a bit of injury news. So obviously Mickey van der Ven is available, well, kind of available for selection, but Postecoglou hasn't confirmed yet whether he's going to be fit enough to play in this game. He said he's trained with us, he's been involved in 3 sessions, not sure about tomorrow, but whether he'll be involved or not. And he was also talking about Maddison and Romero, and he said Maddison is not training with us yet. As I say, I won't know until he's back in training with us. Now he's getting on, how he's getting on. Christian is still at the early. Christian Romero is only at the early stages of his recovery as well. So looks like Maddison, Romero still remain out, albeit they seem to be progressing well. The big news, obviously, Van der Ven seems to going to be back available. If not Burnley, then Man United. And all other players remain injured. You've got Sessegnon, you've got Manuel Solomon, you've got Ivan Perisic. They all remain long-term absentees. But obviously also Bentancur obviously lasted an hour last game, so he'll be fit available for this one. All right, so let's get into the predicted lineup. In goal, the cup keeper has been Fraser Forster. We are going to go Vicario for this one. I made this mistake last time. I went for Vicario against Fulham, and he did go with Fraser Forster. I do have a feeling he might go with Forster just because Forster might be, I don't know if it's in his contract or be agreed that he's the cup keeper and Vicario is going to be in goal for Premier League. But I just hope Ange realises the importance of this game, and I do think just picking Vicario will symbolise how important it is that we get through.
You've actually just nailed it as well. You've got to remember with this cup game as well, there's no Sonny. There's no, like I said, the injuries, the boys that have gone to Africa. We are a complete so it's not like we can play some superstars outfield. He needs to be there. He needs to be there. We were at the Fulham game, seeing Fraser Forster there. Did it all right during the game, but the penalties was just ridiculous. If people see him in the sticks, I reckon a lot of fans will be, there we go, he's taking it seriously just from that position alone. And I think it's vital that Vicario starts. And we got to discuss, Sim, I'm sure you wanted to, who's going to be captain in this team. Because obviously I think he would be a shout.
I think with Vicario, apparently apparently he's apparently he is going to be a bit of a shout for Vicario when it comes to that kind of apparently it's between him, Davis, and Bentancur, and I probably reckon it'll be Ben Davis, but we'll get into it, I guess, when we get into those players. On right back, we are going to stick with Pedro Porro. Obviously, we don't really have many options at the moment at right back. Emerson Royale at the moment has been starting at centre back. Obviously, Pedro Porro is very consistent. I don't think he's going to want to take him out of the team. There is a part of me that feels like he's played. Ever since he's come against United, I think he's played every minute of every game, hasn't he? I don't think he's come off at all. Could he do the break? Maybe, but unfortunately, we don't have that luxury. Big game, and as well, we don't have any other options at right back right now. If Emerson is going to be playing, so he's going to have to start. But it's a good thing because he's a great player, and I'm sure he'll be a very impactful in the game. Yeah,
and again, especially if he does go for a youngster in defence, then obviously he's going to need some experience and the big boys ready to step up. For me, Pedro Porro is definitely a big boy this season when it's come to his performances. And I think he's undroppable at the moment. I really do. And as much as he may need a rest, I think he can continue on, and I fully expect him to start.
Yeah, 100%. Right centre-back, we are going to go with Emerson Royale. Look, is there a possibility it could be a Phillips or a Dorrington do get a chance here? Potentially. But I wonder how fans would feel about if they do get a chance to make a mistake, we end up going bowing out the cup. You know, would Postecoglou come under criticism for not taking the competition seriously? I think Emerson's obviously filled in last few games with mixed results, it's fair to say, although I thought he was pretty good against Bournemouth, but he wasn't very good against Brighton. With no Dragusin in for this one and no Van der Ven seeming ready to start, we are going to stick with Emerson here.
Yeah, I think it's the safe bet. Like I said, he's come off the better performance at Bournemouth than he did at Brighton. That wasn't hard to do for anyone, not just Emerson. And yeah, I can't see the central defence changing.
Yeah. Do you think if you were to change it at this point and it were to go wrong, would he be heavily criticised?
See, this is the thing. We were saying backstage, I'm trying to work this out myself. If he was to drop a central defender, do you think Ben Davies needs a rest? So you give him, but then I think Ben Davies has stood up and been great in stepping up. Yes, he's had a couple of dodgy moments, but
I think if it's a centre back being rested, well, let's get into Ben Davies and we'll talk about it. So Ben Davies is going to partner Emerson, we think, in this one next to it. Obviously, he's been a mainstay in the team, and with Van de Ven, as we said, probably this game coming a bit too early for him. We're thinking that centre back partnership is going to stay. But to your question, if he was to rest one, I think it has to be Emerson, because if a centre back is to come in, there's one. Bringing in a Phillips next to an experienced player like a Davis who's used to playing centre back, but you put him next to Emerson, and that's just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Especially as well, you also put into the fact that I think they're both right-footed, so they're both more comfortable on the right. I mean, if you bring them in, put them on the left-hand side where they're less comfortable, and next to Emerson, I think you're just asking for trouble, in my opinion, if you do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was looking at more to the point. Do you remember we had Jose Mourinho and Ben Davies played a huge amount of games and then his form just fell off a cliff? Ben Davies has played every minute and been a consistent member of the team during these injuries and done better than I think anyone would have predicted. Left centre-back in a two. So I was more like maybe we'd give him a rest. But then when you chuck in the argument, if we do play a youngster playing with experience next to him, I would rather a youngster play next to Davies than Emerson. So I'm in agreement with you.
But we'll have to see what Ange thinks. On the left-hand side, we are going to go Destiny Udogie. Obviously, been played quite well in recent weeks. Really good performance against Bournemouth, I felt. He's going to have a big say in this game, I feel, as well, with his physicality. And what I loved about him in the Bournemouth game is how often, there was balls over the top to Solanke, and he was just covering his centre-backs and mopping up their mistakes, basically. And I feel like with Foster running in behind, he might have a similar job here.
I'm sure somewhere on that pitch, when Destiny's on the left-hand side, there's some kind of teleportation device, because 1 minute he's the last man defending Solanke, and then like 10 seconds later, he's like the furthest player forward. This guy is a beast, and Burnley will be physical, and we need some physicality, and Destiny will be able to cover, as we saw admirably, should players be able to break that line that we play. So Destiny, for me, is a must-start.
Yeah, absolutely. Going into the number 6 position, we are going to go with Rodrigo Bentancur to keep his position. I think at the moment for Rodrigo, the more minutes, the better. I think we need him to start getting up to speed as quickly as possible. What was I wouldn't say sad, but against Villa when he came in, he looked absolute dynamite for 20 minutes, then got that bad injury. What I would say against Bournemouth is he played an hour. Definitely looked a lot rustier than he did in the Villa game. Didn't look quite 100%. But I'm sure he'll get up to speed very quickly and as soon as possible. And I think maybe another hour, or even if he can extend that 70 minutes, that'll do in the world of good. And especially with the limited options we have, I think it'll be good to keep his minutes going. So we're going to keep with Bentancur.
Yeah, just a couple of things with Bentancur. May not have been as brilliant as he was against Villa, but he started the move for that first goal by anticipating the ball from the keeper and getting that move. His anticipation is brilliant. And I think we were looking at this before he got his injury at Aston Villa, saying this is where we need him. This is the time where we need him, when Basuma and Sarr were gone. Obviously, Maddison out. This is the time we would have needed him. And seeing him get the minutes he got against Bournemouth was brilliant to see and a surprise for us all, and hopefully he'll carry on his rehabilitation with a start tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. On the right-hand side of the midfield, we are going to go for Ollie Skip. For me, I don't think it's his favourite position. I don't like him in the number 8, but Ange and when Sarr went injured on Sunday, Skip was the midfielder he turned to in that number 8 position. I know Kulu is back fit, but I just got a feeling that Skip will get a start in this one, and he'll get a start in that position. If I was Ange, I would like to maybe flip that, put Skip in the 6 and Bentancur in the 8. But that's not what we've seen him do. So I think that this is what it's going to be picked. And hopefully Skip can take this chance.
Yeah, there's not much more to say. Listen, as well, midfield, we are down to bare bones. Obviously, Kulusevski and Lo Celso are back. Maybe he could have gone two-pronged there. But he probably wants a little bit of steel. And with Ollie Skip's tackling, it might be pivotal in this. So I can see him getting a start. He seems to like Ollie Skip, so I expect him to continue his recent run of starts.
Yeah, and I think from a Højbjerg perspective, I just think the potential, his future being up in the air isn't helping his cause when it comes to him getting starts and stuff like that. So I think for now, Skip in a weird way might be ahead of him in the pecking order while his future is still up in the air. Left centre mid, we are going to go for Giovanni Lo Celso. Brilliant game against Bournemouth with 2 assists. Been a really great run of form. He's spoken as well in the Spurs programme about how happy he is at the moment with how things are going at Tottenham. So we're going to keep him in the lineup, and I think he's going to have a big part to play in this game if we're going to take the game to Burnley.
I think when I agree with you, Sim, and I think when you normally talk about key guys in this tie, I think Gio Lo Celso is definitely that for us. If he plays like he did against Bournemouth, I don't think Burnley will be able to handle him. He's done very, very well when he's come in. And I expect that to continue tomorrow. And also had a big part in the first goal for Sarr with his tackle / pass to Sarr. And that's the kind of things that he can offer apart from the wonderful outstep of the foot pass to Sonny. So expect him to start and expect him to have a big say in how we do in this tie.
Okay, and right-hand side, we're going to go with Brennan Johnson. Look, he seems to be developing quite a good relationship with Richarlison up front on that side, and seems a lot more comfortable on the right-hand side. He's really starting to develop those cutbacks, those first-time balls across the face of goal. So yeah, Brennan Johnson, we're going to give him another start on the right.
Yeah, big game for him. I've been backing him constantly. I think with this one, a lot of people, I think it's slightly improved since he's been here, is his tracking back, and obviously getting back into shape to a well-disciplined Burnley is going to be pivotal. And I hope his relationship with Richarlison brings another goal or two.
Yeah, absolutely. Up front, we are going to stick with Richarlison as well. Obviously, Sonny out to the Asia Cup. Valise is injured for about 6 weeks to 2 months, they're saying. So Richarlison, 5 goals in his last 5 games. He's in great form at the moment. Let's hope that continues.
Yeah, exactly. He deserves a lot of credit. Yes, he's missed the odd opportunity, but when we've needed him to step up, he has gone onto a run of goals, and it's actually going to be the first time. The Bournemouth game is the first time he started 5 games in a row for us, and we obviously saw the difference of him starting regularly and another game. And there's a lot of pressure on him now with Sonny gone, and hopefully he can live up to it. He's showing that he has been able to last few games.
And on the left-hand side, this is probably the most controversial one. We're going for Dejan Kulusevski on the left-hand side on this one. Obviously, started on the right for a lot of the season. Recently, he's obviously moved inside, played in the centre. But with Sonny out, unless he's going to go... I do think he's going to want to start Kulu and Lo Celso. I think he's going to want to fit them in. And unless he plays Lo Celso, Kulu and Bentancur on Hill potentially on the left, we're thinking Kulusevski on the left, based on the fact that I remember against Newcastle, he did have a little cameo there on the left-hand side, and he actually looked quite effective on that side as well. He set up a few chances. And I just think he might give him a go there. And I think if Kulusevski can play on the left-hand side, it gives him more options going forward while Son's out as well of who he can play there. Because right now, who are his options? He's got Hill who can play there. He's got Richarlison who can play there, but he's going to want to play centrally. Yeah. Apart from those two, who can actually play on the left while Son's out? So I just think it could be a good option just to... Oh, and Johnson's can play there as well, but obviously I think he's going to want to keep Johnson on the right. So, yeah, we're feeling Kulu might get a run out on the left here.
Well, what I do like about this as well, if he does do this, obviously, Sim, is Lo Celso also plays on the left there for Argentina. So if Kulusevski isn't having the impact we need him from the left, there's a possibility to rotate in with Lo Celso. So Kulusevski can go more central, and Lo Celso, who I would rather play where we've got Lo Celso, but there's a bit of flexibility and a bit of movement and fluidity that can be there. And we've been wanting to see Kulu in different positions, because sometimes on the right he doesn't have the best of games. Loved him in the centre, but if we're going to experiment, let's use this opportunity while we got it. And I would really like to see Kulu on the left. The left footer on the left, I think could be a good thing for this game as well, getting the crosses in for Richarlison, who loves those kind of things, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's also a great point. You know, that crossing ability that Kulusevski has will lend maybe better for Richarlison as well. I didn't even think of that. I think that's a really good point. So the lineup, let's go through one more time. Vicario in goal, Paro, Emerson, Davis and Udogie on the back four, Bentancur, Lo Celso and Skip in the midfield three, with Johnson, Kulusevski supporting Richarlison. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you reckon about the lineup we've chosen? Do you think it's correct? Do you think maybe, some people saying, does Dyer get a run out potentially? Does Donnelly or Scarlett come into the team potentially in this one? There are some things to sort out, but that's the lineup we have picked.